It's going to be problems for the Boston Celtics this year. I'm telling you.
We know how to lock Patty ass up.
Durant can make it a 3-possession game. Ooh, the chants coming down. We want Boston from the Nets fans.
Yeah, well, be careful what you wish for.
Not playing part-time, now full-time. But when he's been on the court, when he's played, he is one of the most electrifying players in the game. The drive. Jaylen Brown kicks it out. Smart fakes. Inside. Tatum spins and he puts it in. Celtics go up by 1.
Down 17 late in the second quarter. And they come all the way back and win by 7. The Celtics take a 3-0 lead in this opening round.
Thought things would be different, but a first-round loss.
And a sweep. Boston, 4 in a row.
YouTube, how's everyone doing? Jags to Riches, James Peters, thank you all so much for your time. Straight to it. Actually, excuse me 1 second while I get this out the way. All seriousness, guys. Wow, Boston Celtics, Brooklyn Nets, first round of the NBA playoffs has finished. The Boston Celtics would close out the series last night with a 4-0 sweep. 116, 112, and an absolute just stressful back and forth down to the wire game. I'll be honest, guys, this is more of a just celebration-based episode. Not too much of a game plan here. I just really want to take a moment and just, this is so unbelievable. I just want to freestyle while talking about the absolute incredible accomplishment that this team just did. And it's just the absolute, just how unbelievable this team is when you think about where they were, at the beginning coming into, 2022. It's just, it's insane. It's unbelievable. Again, I can't, my mind is just blown. I'll take you through some of the box scores from last night's game. I will briefly talk about the series as a whole. Some of the key takeaways. I don't want to get too much into the Milwaukee series right now, just because, to be honest and fair, I think for one, they need to win. That series is still going on, but I need time to deep dive into it. That's just a completely different monster. That's the defending champions. I need to look into Middleton. I need to look. It's just a lot more. So just to be fair, I will say first, shout out to the gentleman over at the Celtics Reddit podcast, to my man, Ben Wayne, Celtics J. Thank you all so much, gentlemen. I was actually honored and privileged enough for them to invite me on as a guest immediately after the Celtics closed out the Nets last night. It was honestly just kind of a raw reaction. We spent about an hour together just basically talking about the game 4 overall, just the disbelief again of the series. It was a very, like I said, raw, immediate reaction. We touched on our expectations with the Bucks series and just kind of, like I said, just praise this team and, their accomplishments last night while going over just some of the key details from last night's game. So again, to all of the gentlemen over there, if you haven't already, go subscribe to those guys. They are on a whole different level and they can talk and understand the game on a way I could only hope. And I literally played the game my entire life, middle school, high school, AAU, but still listening to them talk about it, it lets me know I still have, there's still levels to this per se, but shout out to you guys. Thank you again. I'm really humbled for you to invite me on. So let's get straight to it, guys. Starting with the Boston Celtics. Now, again, this is just game 4. We're going to go over first And it was all about Jason Tatum for multiple reasons. Now, first, his performance, 36 minutes, 29 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists. He was 9 for 16, 4 for 6 for the 3, 7 for 8 from the free throw. And he was absolutely cooking prior to fouling out in literally the most crucial part of the game. We'll get to that. Jaylen Brown, who I have been calling Mr. Consistency throughout this playoff run, 22 points. Again, literally 22 points. We'll get to his stats in a second. 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 9 for 20 from the field. He was 0 for 5 from the 3. Looking at Al Horford, who, I mean, wow, how incredible has Al been? I mean, just to think back at people being upset or saying that it wasn't a win when we actually did that trade for him. I mean, what he has meant for this team on the defensive end and just some of the most clutch plays in this playoffs. I mean, just remind you that this guy is a vet that has seen it all, done it all, was a perennial all-star, and is just, I mean, has always been so underappreciated. 13 points, 6 rebounds, 5 for 9 from the field, 3 for 5 from the 3. And like I said, one of those field goals was one of the game icing put back layup that basically, like I said, won us the game, because if they get that rebound, they have a chance to win it. Marcus Smart has been sensational throughout this entire series, to the point where I almost would argue he has been the better of the point guards in this series out of him and Kyrie. 20 points, 11 assists, 5 rebounds. He was 7 for 16 from the field, 3 for 7 from the 3. Looking at the bench, Grant Williams he's another one that stepped up huge. You don't see the defensive stats you obviously 3 blocks for Grant does actually give you a little bit of insight, but obviously, as you know, defense doesn't always have statistics. It doesn't tell the whole story. And the job that Grant, Al, all of our front court, the other guys, as we have dubbed them, the job that they did on KD throughout this series was just absolutely inspiring, incredible, and the first time we've arguably ever seen anyone do that to KD. Now, obviously, in the past, it was hard to do that because you want to triple team him. Okay, there's Curry and Clay and all these other guys. You really couldn't do that. But, I mean, this year they were literally able to throw everything at him, including the damn towel boy, and just make sure that it's everyone else that has to beat us. 13 points, 3 rebounds, 5 for 8 from the field, 4 for 6 from the 3. Peyton Pritchard, another one, man, who's flashed some brilliance throughout this series. I mean, didn't really come up big on the stats, but I mean, again, I have to give him some shout out. Derek White coming alive a little bit. Like I said, I think he's only averaging about 5 points throughout the playoffs. I don't have the number in front of me, but he has had some moments. He's one of those guys that does everything right except for, fill up the points. So again, Rob Williams, and we will get to him. Second game back, 14 minutes, 1 for 4 from the field. He did have 3 points and 5 rebounds, but you do got to show some love and respect to the opponent. Looking at Kevin Durant, wow, what a big game for him. 39 points, 7 rebounds, 9 assists, but he was 13 for 31 from the field, 3 for 11 from the 3. Kyrie Irving, 20 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, 6 for 13 from the field, 2 for 3 from the 3. Seth Curry was hot, guys, 23 points. Remember when y'all laughed at me when I said he can average 15? 23 points, 9 for 13, was 5 for 9 from the 3. And again, Claxton and Dragic have been really good for them, this entire series, both off the bench, 23, 24 minutes. Claxton with 13 points, 6 rebounds, and Dragic 10 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. Now, looking at the series as a whole, guys, Game 1, the Boston Celtics would come out and win 115-114 on a back and forth, just dogfight that went literally down to whoever made the last play. One more play the Boston Celtics made over the Brooklyn Nets, and that was Jason Tatum. Well, Smart, JB finding Smart finding Tatum for a game-winning layup. Game 2, you would see the Celtics win 114-107. However, that was a game where the Celtics would come back from a 17-point deficit to actually win that game. And then when you look at Game 3, 109-103, I mean, that was another one. That was a game that Boston actually had, I don't think it was a double digit, but it was literally nearly a double digit. I think 72-81 going into the fourth quarter. We would blow that. However, they would creep up to about 3-4 points. Then JB, JB at the start of the fourth, and then JT to close it out. And again, that was that game. Steph Curry literally hit like a 3 with 2 seconds left to cut the lead a little bit more. That was more of a convincing win. And that led us to game 4, which was last night. And obviously the 116-112 victory. Now, that was another tight one, guys. And it's pretty much has been the story throughout this playoff. After the first quarter, it was 30-26, 4-point game. At halftime, it was 58-50, still a very competitive game. Now, in the third, the Celtics would get a big lead. They literally were up by like 15 with, a few seconds left. I think they finished the quarter up by 12. But then the fourth quarter is when it was on again. I mean, the Nets would come storming back, and Jason Tatum would foul out with 2:49 left on the clock in a 109-103 game. And it's like coming into this game, everyone with the Scott Foster 19-2 when it comes to these games and scoring it for, the winning and losing team. And obviously, him and Chris Paul, it's like 0-14 in the playoffs or something crazy. It's just obviously when you can type in this gentleman's name and it just goes into this whole spiel of, his bullshit. It's like, oh Christ. So, and then as I'm watching it play out, I'm like, oh my God, there really is something behind this. Like that Tatum's foul out, that 6th foul was trash. It was clearly like Dragic pulled him down, and then the Al Horford box out trash. Like there was just some garbage calls. And I mean, it really did, like, especially late, after that last, 3 minutes of absolute hell and stress, just seemed like everything was starting to go right for them, and it was slowly starting to seep away from us. But I mean, like I said, it was Al Horford with the tip back and just a few more big plays made. And wow. Now, again, if you go back from the season as well, we beat that team 7 straight times. They beat us the first time in these when we met early in the season. After that, we beat them 3 straight times to close out the regular season, 4 straight times, obviously here. So 7 straight victories over them. Again, this actually is Kyrie Irving's first time ever being eliminated in the first round in his career. How about that? In Kyrie's entire career, this is the first time he's ever been sent home in the first round, and it is by the Boston Celtics, the team he left. And again, Brooklyn Nets are the only team that did not actually get a win. If you look around the league, I mean, Toronto's fighting back against Philly right now. That's like a 3-2. Obviously, you got the Bucks going against, I believe, the Bulls tonight in a 3-1 series. So everyone else is still fighting. Meanwhile, the Boston Celtics get to rest. Why is that important? We just got Rob Williams back in to think about that. That's what's crazy. They just went out there and swept a team that, like I said, even though it's not the same team at the beginning of the year, this is still a team that was, favorites to win the East, not that long ago. Remember, coming into this playoffs, KD was averaging 32, 8, and 8. Kyrie's averaging 36 and 6. They were rolling. They had won 13 or 14 out of the last 18 or 19. Like, they were doing very well. And for the Celtics to go, and again, I understand the margin of victory was 7 points or less. These were close, well-fought, hard-fought games. But for the Celtics to still win this without Rob Williams, who is just such an important part and member of that team and what they do on both sides, especially on the defensive end. I mean, he was a walking double-double, all NBA defensive level player. He got a first place vote for Defensive Player of the Year. And I mean, and one of the best passing big men in the game, one of the best vertical threat. I mean, it's Rob Williams. I don't have to sell you on him, but the fact that now I think that it's looking like the series may start Sunday against the winner of the Bucks and Bulls. So you're talking about another 4 or 5 days off, you know what I mean, for Rob to rest up. He actually got 2 games so far, the last 2 games of the series, game 3 and game 4. And if you look at it, he had 14 minutes, 16 minutes in the 2 games, 2 points, 2 rebounds, and a block in one game, 3 points, 5 rebounds in the other. they're taking their time with him. No real reason to, go crazy because Al Horford, Grant Williams, Daniel Tice have, held the ship down so beautifully in the last, several weeks, months since Rob has actually been down. So the fact that they're getting Rob Williams back in time for a round 2 potential matchup against Giannis is absolutely incredible. And it could not have been more perfect timing because we're going to need everything, especially when it comes to our front court, all hands on deck to take him on. Because now you could potentially look at putting Al Horford on him and have Rob playing his free safety role, throw Grant, throw Daniel Tice, throw Tatum, just throw bodies at him. So very, very interesting to see what kind of adjustments and what kind of schematics they bring into that with Ime Udoka as far as his game plan for Giannis and that team, especially without Middleton. Middleton's actually battling an injury, so we'll have to see how soon he gets back. But yeah, guys, like I said, even though this last game 4 was close, it really was a wire-to-wire win. And it felt like this Boston Celtics team has just continued to answer any and every question that has been put in front of them this year. And the fact that they just swept this team, I still cannot get my head around it. I'd have a lot of belief in this Celtics team, but even I was thinking it was going to be at least 6. I gave the Nets a lot of respect just based on the fact that they have 2 of the best players in the world. And I know they're banged up, no Ben Simmons, no Joe Harris, and all their, excuse, but it's like, you can't. I'm hearing a lot of the critics now say, well, they didn't have a lot of time to play together. Well, neither did the Lakers. So you can't say that the Nets didn't have, well, they only had 20 something games together. Well, so don't pick and choose when a point, fits your narrative, be consistent with it at least. So some of the series stats on both sides, Jason Tatum would finish averaging this is throughout 4 games, all 4 games in the series, just under 30 points, 4.5 rebounds, 7+ assists, while shooting 45% from 3. Jaylen Brown, like I said, Mr. Consistency, 22.5 points, 5 rebounds, just under 5 assists. But he was a guy, like I said, it was 22 points, 23, 22, 23. It was like 5 rebounds, 6 rebounds, 6 rebounds, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 5 assists, 5 assists, 4 assists, 9 for 18, 9 for 16, 9 for 16, 9 for 8. He was just so consistent, so dominant in the fourth quarters. He was excellent. Marcus Smart, again, I said he averaged just under 17 points, 4 rebounds, and 7 assists. We really need to discuss who had the better overall series out of him and Kyrie. Real quick, Kyrie, he averaged 20 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists while shooting 31%. And remember, a lot of his stats are padded from that 39-point game 1. If you look away from that, he had a 10-point performance, a 16-point performance, and a 20-point performance. So again, what's more impressive, his 25-5 or Marcus Smart's 17-4-7? It's an interesting question. You don't got to talk about the defensive end and the hustle stats and the stats that don't show up on the box score. So I'm kind of intrigued to know to get Bobby's opinion, even though I'm pretty sure. As you might not be able to tell, but I got Kyrie right here. This would be the dustpan. You get the point. Al Horford, 13 points, 7.5 rebounds. He took 15 total threes in this series, and he made 9 of them, 65%. Grant Williams, 11 and plus points throughout the series, 4 rebounds. He took 16 total threes throughout the series, made 8 of them, 50% from 3. Absolutely incredible. Kevin Durant averaged 26 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 5.5 turnovers. He did shoot 41% from 3, but he shot 39% from the field. And again, Kyrie shot 31% from 3. So again, guys, absolute incredible, amazing. All 4 of these games were hard fought. Obviously the storylines are incredible with Kyrie and his whole dynamic with the Celtics fan, and the fact that we played this team last year and weren't healthy and they gentlemen sweeped us, and now we get to come back and get a little redemption on them as now we get to advance and meet the Milwaukee Bucks in the second round. This is awesome. My initial picks, again, like I said, if you check out the Celtics Reddit podcast, I did say I believe that the Boston Celtics are going to beat the Bucks, and I believe 6. But I'll be honest, I said that exact same thing about the Nets. I said the Celtics are going to win in 6. So I'm at the point now, guys, that my immediate reaction was like, actually, you know what? I'm going to stop I'm going to believe in this team, and this team can probably beat them in 5. You know what I mean? If not shit, who knows? I don't even, I'm done. I continue to doubt. They continue to make me believe. So coming into this playoffs, I would have said, I think we beat Brooklyn, but I don't think we beat the Bucks. I think they beat us in probably 6 in a hard-fought series. Good year. Let's get them next year. And I don't think that's the case no more, guys. This team to me is finals bound, and honestly, I would put them right up there as arguably the finals favorites. I'd be curious to know the betting lines on that right now, but I believe they represent the East and put up one hell of a fight in the NBA Finals, guys. Thank you all so much for your time. Appreciate it more than you know. Jags to Riches, James Peters. Please, if you get an opportunity, if you haven't, do me a big favor, subscribe. I know I'm not one of those guys that like to ask or beg, but it really does help more than you know. And as Bobby would say, it is free. So again, I'll continue to work my ass off and give you everything I have and try to improve each and every time I'm on camera. And I would just appreciate it if you would hit that red button. That's a few just right below. Like I said, it helps me in ways you couldn't imagine with the algorithm and getting out, to the masses, so to speak, especially for a smaller channel. So thank you all so much for your time, guys. We're going to have a couple of days off here. So we'll be, I'm sure there'll be a bunch of shit going on. So we'll do reactions. Actually reached out to Anna Horford. We're going to actually try to get her back on for another episode of Trust the Podcast, maybe later in the week, just based on last time we had her on. Not only was it incredible, she was talking all kinds of shit that came to fruition, talking about the Celtics beating the Nets and not being afraid. Everything she was saying literally came true. So we're going to try to get her back on before that next series gets going. But again, have an excellent conclusion to your day. Thank you all so much for your time. Go check out that Celtics Reddit podcast. Go check out Celtics Corner. Please subscribe to everyone. Show some love and support. Again, Jags to Riches, James Peters. Thank you again for your time. Take care, guys.